like I wore my hair out in like one puff, and my coworker at the time, she was just like, "Wait, that's all your hair?" I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, this whole time, I thought that was like a hairpiece.
Okay, and like, what is? Mind you,
it still would be mine if it was a hairpiece.
Welcome. We are back with the Out of the Berg podcast. Got the crew here. Got Chris, got Gerard, and 3 special guests.
Four.
Sorry, my math is off. 4 special guests.
Take some college out.
Ashley, another Ashley, Michaela, and Frank. What's good?
Hey, y'all.
Appreciate y'all coming this week.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No. How was y'all Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good.
It was all right. A little different this year, but
yeah, it could have been better. But we're grateful.
We don't celebrate the colonizer type stuff, but it's really good to see the family and be thankful for them.
Yeah, it's terrible history. I'll say that. Terrible history. But mine was cool. Haven't seen my family in like 4 months, so it was cool. See them, so
you eat good?
They get on my damn nerves. Hey, great.
Hey, y'all.
Of course, you got to eat good when you go back home, especially for the first time in 2 months.
Yeah. So, it was cool. But we start on the mental health. This is one of the things that kind of hits our community the most. So I wanted to know your thoughts on mental health, just in general. If anyone wants to go.
Well, I can start. It's not really talked about in the Black community at all. I know, like me and Chris, in our household, we don't really talk about it. Never really have.
Didn't really even know it was like an actual thing in college.
No, so it's not something that we really considered, like he said, until we got to college, because we'd hear people talking about it and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Especially, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You can talk.
You can talk. Go ahead. No judgments on here.
But to echo Ashley's thoughts about having not a conversation in the household about being overwhelmed or overworked or feeling some type of way, it was just kind of overlooked. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, oh, you just need to work harder. And that was like the solution to it.
You gotta pray.
It wasn't really like
it's a white person saying,
like,
you're crazy.
Yeah. So me and we have this group chat, and of course we just joke and geek in it. But my brother has sent a meme. It was like, the son was like, "Mom, I'm depressed." And the Black mom was like, "You better depress them dishes." So it's like,
Yep.
It really went.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's go ahead, my fault.
No, I was thinking just like, I know it's stigmatized in either like just minority communities, just because I know, especially lower class minority communities, parents out there just working to survive. They don't got time. Like in their eyes, they don't have time for like you to be depressed or you to have anxiety. You just got to fight through it to survive. Because I've kind of seen that, especially in my household. Like my mom's a single mom, and so my sister and I, we didn't find this out until we actually sat down and talked to each other. But we both have anxiety. Like I got anxiety through the roof, man. But she and I just sat and talked about it because a lot of our kind of characteristics were very similar. And then I know my sister was just stressing out, especially her first year in school. And my mom kind of semi blew it off. And it's like, oh, you just need to work harder. But it wasn't until we had like friends of the family talking to my sister and saying, like, recognize like, yeah, that's straight up anxiety. And then my mom was like, okay, so I'll get you someone to help out. But I don't know. We do it in our own ways. Like I eat, that's why I'm like 700 pounds. And my sister's hair was falling out at the time too.
Wow.
And even like when she went natural, she would just end up like when she was stressed, she just started pulling her hair out. We're getting better. We're getting better.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Like the first
That's
step,
what's
I was like actually like acknowledging it too, so that's big.
Yeah.
This also doesn't help. Like most of the time when like people with like mental disabilities are like portrayed or mental anxieties or whatever portrayed in media, if they're like white, they're going to like a psychiatrist. If they're black, they're going to a mental institution or something because they're a crazy person. That is,
you know what's crazy? Like, you know that many of us deal with this because you can see in our community that behaviors that are normally seen as like symptoms for something, that is something that they characterize Black people as, like, that's how Black people are. Like, she's angry because she's Black. No, she's angry or stressed or whatever because she's doing all this by herself.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
we see so many of us going through that on a daily. That's how they think that we are. But we're just stressed, and all of us are stressed.
And I feel like we're not taught how to deal with it. We're not even taught how to recognize the symptoms of depression or like simple stress. Like going to work every day is not okay to be stressed over every day, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm only stressed because I'm going to work and I got these 4 kids. Sometimes we have to be taught how to deal with those things. Like, oh, you need to take a breather, take some time out for yourself and meditate. We need to, like, who was it? Was it Chris who said that, sorry, white people will go to like a psychiatrist and we would just go to the, you say
mental institution.
Yeah, mental institution. And I feel like that's because we wait so long to do something about it. It's like we get to the point where there's no turning back. There's no option but mental institution, those where we have to go through those heights to help us deal with our issues when we should focus on the issue or be taught how to focus on the issue that's bothering us at the time instead of waiting a year or 2 later to be like, oh snap, what my mom said back in 2017 really bothered me. Maybe I should have dealt with it in 2017.
But also within this field of like mental health, it's not dominated by people of color.
That's true.
So when you got a lot of people who don't look like you diagnosing you, you know, they, you know, have like the power in their hands to say they can dismiss you or they can say like, oh, they're a nutcase.
Yeah.
Instead of really trying to delve deep like how they would with people who look more like them.
Yeah.
That's like in all.
That's a good point.
Health field.
Yeah.
Like with birth and stuff.
Yes. Women are 4 times as Black women are 4 times more likely to die during childbirth
exactly
than our white counterparts.
Of like, oh, they can handle more pain. Like they really think that in the medical field. There's writing, scientific research, and all that to back up that claim that we can handle more like pain.
And my mom has like stories in her line of work. Some of her clients would just open up to her. And one thing she noticed was when some of their kids will go to doctors, they're quick to just put them on medication instead of seeing what else they could do, like what other steps they could take before medication. So as soon as they put on medication, it's like now you on assisted living. It's like you get these checks because your child is on this, and sometimes you didn't even have to take those steps. Sometimes you could probably just be like, oh, switch up nutrition, switch up their environment and do something different instead of, oh, just take this pill. And that's where like a cycle continues to, what am I looking for? Continues to grow instead of like
perpetuates the problem.
So, and we just need to stop the cycle, change it, and figure out a new way to help our children and us as an adult, help yourself, and it could better the future for us, especially as a community.
Well said.
Well said. But how has like COVID affected like y'all's personal mental health? I know for me, comment like this.
My joint went through the roof, man. Like, especially early on, just because just a lot of, especially with work, there's a lot of shifting to Zoom, and I'm not there with my coworkers to try and, hammer out some design details or whatnot. And so, like, especially with I have a new computer, but for like the first maybe 5 months of this COVID, like I had this trash computer I was trying to design on, but stuff would take so long to render. I wouldn't be done working till like maybe 9 o'clock some days. And then also, like, I'm here with my family like 24/7, and we like we want to bite each other's heads off, man. So it's like,
oh my gosh, you still here, right?
Yeah, it's something else. But I try to get out, go for a walk. Sometimes I just leave my house. I park at the park. I just sit and read. Like, that's my little escape. But
change your environment.
Yeah.
Just to get out the house safely.
Yeah.
It was a weird transition. In the beginning of the pandemic and quarantine, I was still doing like my master's classes, and my mom wasn't really used to working from home, and it was stressing her out. And my brother thought it was, a dream come true because he hated his commute. So he loved being in the house. And he was like, shoot, I can do it perfectly from the house. And I wasn't used to sharing the house with them because usually I worked from home before COVID. Like, I was a remote worker. It was cool, before the trend. So that was the easy part. But I guess not being where I wanted to be because of COVID, because in my head I was like, once when I'm done with my master's, I can get the job that I want, and I can move out, and I can do this. But a lot of things got shifted and redirected. So it's kind of like a lot of time talking to God, like, when it's my turn, right. You can still show up and show out during the pandemic, and I want you to do that for me. And so I think it's a lot of me trying to reassess my goals and understand, like, it's okay to slow down. It's okay not to be where you thought you could have been. And you can just take this time to keep learning. And that's what I've been doing, a lot of webinars with the environmental justice movement, Black Lives Matter. That thing really took a toll on my mental health. I'm still advocating. I'm still a part of a lot of groups that do petitions and getting justice for Breonna Taylor. I'm still in the loop with a lot of these families, listening to a lot of podcasts. And when you keep, tuning into the news and tuning into the podcast about this kind of stuff, it really is traumatizing. I can understand why a lot of people lose it. Yeah. So it's about taking a break and taking time for yourself to understand, as much as you want justice and you want to see good things turn out. And the election wasn't helping. I was sweating, y'all. My anxiety was crazy. I started grinding my teeth that night. I had to start putting in my retainers for real so I wouldn't jerk up my pearlies. But I'm telling you, it's been a really chaotic year. Like when you think about like, oh, back to back. I'm like, what's next? Yes. I'm like, enough.
Yeah. And I feel like the quarantine, that was like, not to bring religion into it, but like, I felt like that was God's way of telling everyone, chill out. Like, sit down for 1 minute. And I believe I took it as, yes, a lot of people see it as a negative thing because a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people died, of course. And that's horrible. But I would try, how there's always a little good in the bad. So I try to take that and just deal with it, like taking that time, that downtime, working on myself, working on my mental health, and just working on like loving me, and just like Michaela said, refocusing on my goals, what I do want after the whole thing is over, hopefully soon. It's just that downtime could actually, it could be harmful, but it can also be like something that change everything, So I took advantage of the downtime and not just, looked at it as,
I'm trapped.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, Yeah, my family get on my nerves. I love them like crazy. Y'all all know I would die for those people out there. But
it's perspective and being like having a heart of gratitude. I know a lot of people can't afford, their rent.
Yeah.
We had that one $1,200 stimulus check that came in, but people have kids to feed.
Yeah.
They get an eviction notice. They're trying to keep food on the table, roof over their heads, and we're blessed to say that it's not like that for us.
Yeah.
We don't have to struggle day to day and scrap. And that's something that's a reality for so many people.
Yeah.
I think this year was like the year of exposure for everybody. Personally, so everything that was in the dark, COVID said, not today. We're getting this. We need therapy. We need to get this right up here. We need to get this solved. I think a lot of people have a hard time because a lot of things that they push to the ground, they have to actually deal with now. There's no choice.
Yeah, exactly. Have no, perfectly, literally no choice because nothing else to do.
Right.
Like that elephant over there. Yeah, you need to talk about it right now.
Yeah, but what if Michaela said, like, your brother, I was happy we were gonna work from home.
Yeah.
Like, I was ecstatic I didn't have to go to the office. But then like months in, like you keep seeing people die and like, everything that's happening and in COVID and like the whole madness. I didn't have like water in my house when that thing started.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I think the Chadwick Boseman's death really that shattered me more than like anything. So I think that was like my lowest moment. Yeah. Cause I really didn't understand it and I didn't know how to like process how he, would leave the earth knowing what he kind of did for our community. So I would say that just the constant Black people getting shot. It's like every day someone's getting shot and killed by the police. So I think all of that has risen my anxiety because like I'm by y'all have family to talk to. I'm by myself. So I'm thinking all the time. And then like sometimes I'll be like, yo, if they come to my house, probably need to go get a strap or something.
And here we are out here isolated. That's Peter.
Yeah, so I mean, for me it's just been up and down for the most part, but music helps. So
that's how you do a lot of things. You just, create your playlist and you just try to surround that brings you comfort.
Yep. My therapy. Yep.
Yeah, like I said, it's like all about finding that thing that works for you. And I think one of the points we wanted to talk about was how Black men dealt with mental health and mental illnesses. And I feel like, who was I talking to?
Great transition, by the way.
Who was I talking to? Things. Oh my gosh, I was talking to some dude. Oh, by the way, I got a new job. Another blessing that came out of this.
Congratulations!
Congrats!
Thank you. It was my supervisor, and he likes to build things. So he said when he was younger, he was a wild child, and instead of and with his environment, he could have easily been on drugs in jail, but instead he focused on like a healthy route of building things, and now he's like building his house and everything is pretty cool. But he's a Black man also. So I was like, I think as Black men, they figure out. I don't know how y'all really feel about talking to like a therapist. So instead of talking to a therapist, you would just focus on music, focus on building things. My brother, he focuses on ATG. So
and being we trust.
So with me, I don't mind venting to somebody. Hey, listen. If you all ears, I'm all mouth. Like, let's go. Please edit that.
Next stage the most.
Yeah, but
that's how we talk through things. We're really, as women, at least us.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you, Ashley, Kelly, but we talk a lot.
I'm on the phone with her during like when I worked at Kids Zone, I pick up FaceTime and just call Michaela.
3 p.m., 3 a.m. Hey, girl, what you doing? I'm like, well, you know.
She do her hair. And then 5 kids in the background talking about Miss Fran. I'm like, I need this.
I know them all by name at this point. Got
See,
my bonnet on, everything.
I don't know. Like, Chris can attest, like, we didn't grow up, like, talking our feelings out like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like people in my business.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know. Like, when I'm feeling like, I didn't add how I felt like at the beginning of COVID. Like, I felt anxiety a little bit, but at the same time, I was like happy to be home and in my own bubble. You know what I mean? I didn't have to worry about going back to school. Initially, I didn't think I was going back to school, so I was happy. You know, I was like, I don't got to deal with people. You know, I just get to keep to myself and in my bubble with my family, because everybody at school knows. Like, I'm not a big fan of Slippery Rock, but I'm there because I know I got to do what I got to do. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So, like, I don't know. Like, I think me and Chris both, we internalize that stuff a lot. Like, we don't talk that stuff out. And our parents will say, like, nothing wrong with this, but like, pray, you know, just pray it out. So that's like what we do in a sense. Or like, we'll talk, like, I'll call like one of our older cousins. She's this older 89 lady, and I'll tell her what's going on or whatever if I'm struggling with school, especially it being my first year at PT school. I was stressed like through the roof. So I would call her and I'd be like, I got a test and such. Please say a prayer for me. And that was about it. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
You totally see your best friend being a 9-year-old woman.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I keep my circle real tight. I don't have too many friends like that. So that could be another reason for it too. But I think our family's just real close and tight knit. But we don't even like speak our like our anxieties out. Like, we're all like with COVID, we're like, all right, we're not going nowhere. Ain't nobody coming in the house.
Yeah.
So when I went back to school, I was like, hold up, I don't want to go nowhere. Like, my roommates would go out to eat. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna stay in my room. I'm gonna stay in here because I'm not trying to take my mask off nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like you and Gerard. Like, mental health has been like a very new topic in my household, and I think it's because like both my parents are Air Force. My dad is still active, and he is in charge of a lot of young airmen. And so they're young dads, and this is like the transition from what they normally work as, and then they're going remote was a really terrible transition, and a lot of people were impacted. He was stationed in San Antonio, and Texas was one of the places where they had the highest amount of COVID cases. So my dad was working 7 days a week, never got a break, but he had to because a lot of his airmen were killing themselves. There was suicide watch. It was hard for them to process things and talk things out. And so they understand that discussion has to shift if they want to see a change. We have to start normalizing these conversations. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I don't think something's right with me. My heart does a weird thing and I don't sleep. And it's like, oh, baby, you got problems, but we got you. Thank you for talking to me. Like, we're not going to put you on medication right at first. That might help. But I mean, let's try other things that's like not medicated drug use. And let's try going outside for longer periods of time. Let's get a dog in there. Or you a cat person? Like, you know, a lot of people, like, it's studies show, like, if you have a pet, those people are actually a lot better off than people who don't have pets. When you pet something, it's like endorphins are released. And so when people are like, okay, well, I don't like cats or dogs, they get a stuffed animal and they will pet the pillow. And you have to do whatever it takes in times like this to really find your center. And I like Gerard's idea, going to the park and just sitting in the car and reading. Might look a little weird at first, but I mean, like, who cares? Right. I'm all about looking weird in public. So
I know my family's jealous of my cat because as soon as I come home, of course I say hi to my family. I'm like, hey y'all. But when I see my cat, everything changes. I'm like, me! I'm like, they're like, oh, you so happy to see me? I'm like, yes, because he puts some time to me. He has to accept my love. Even though. But yeah.
He just wants her because she has a heating blanket and you already know what's going down.
Because they love me.
Did you guys, like, growing up, have your parents tell you, like, it's not okay to express you being sad or, upset, having feelings like that?
It's not really told. It's kind of like stamped on their forehead.
Nah, like implied.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I know
implied.
from my family, my mom's like, and my dad, I mean, they've been divorced for the last, 15 years, 20. But he just, talking like, you can talk to me about anything, don't hide anything. You can talk to me about stuff. But I think it got to a point where I guess I would try to communicate. There's some things like, at least my mom just couldn't really fathom. And so she would kind of just dismiss it. And that was like extremely frustrating because I just felt like I'm not being listened to at all. And so I'd say like right around like college, just hang with y'all. Some of my favorite moments were just we all chilling in the quad, just talking, especially like us guys. We'd sit there late, like at night, like 12, 1 a.m., just talking about stuff. And like, y'all know, I told you all my like stuff I was going through, you know? And so it was around like that time I was like, therapy's not bad. And I think, like I said, my social anxiety, I cared way too much about what people thought of me. And so I think early on I was like, oh, if I go to therapy, people will think I'm like all for odd or something. And I'm like, I don't give a damn. Oh, excuse my French. But yeah, I mean, like I got to do this for me. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like it's my life. I gotta figure it out for myself. So I think I know for me, a lot of my, I guess, stuff I've stumbled upon by myself, like I'm in my head 25/8. So I look back on like all the things that happened to me, all the things I've done. I kind of track, okay, this is caused because of this, and this happened because I acted like this, and I sort of kind of self-diagnose myself. I think one of these days I'm gonna talk to like a professional and just kind of tell them what my what do you call it?
Your way of thinking.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, and just see how they diagnose it. So yeah, when things open back up, I'm gonna try that. But
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Can't you do? Because when I do therapy, it's through like Zoom or something.
Yeah.
That's possible because I think that's a lot of people have like taken up therapy during this time because a lot of people are losing it, and they need someone to talk to, even if it's like this, like virtual. So I definitely recommend it, and I definitely say look into like the virtual just for the time being, if you want to. Of course, I'm not forcing you, but until everything opens back up, why not?
I read a post recently, and it said that people of color or brown and black people are literally good at everything except for emotions. And I was like,
I mean, that's not it's not fair skin attribute.
You can see it, like how it plays out in your relationships, just even friendships or like dynamics with your parents. And I was like, we didn't have words for it, but now that I know terms now, I'm like, that was definitely depression. That was definitely, that was mental abuse. I was like, wow, a lot of things are just adding up, huh? So I should write down a list so I don't forget all the things that's wrong with me and work on them so I don't perpetuate that to my kids. But it's all about the generational thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's how they were raised, so that's how they raised us as well, though. And like
race to survive.
Yeah. So like sometimes I'll talk to my roommates I'm the only black one. So I'll be talking to them and I'll say certain things and they'll be like, hold up, they did that to you. I'll be like, that's not normal. And they'll be sitting there with their mouths open. And I'll be like, well, okay. I didn't think that was that like far left, like y'all didn't get whoopings like that.
Yeah.
like my mom used to tear me up. I mean, I deserved it.
It wasn't. I wasn't allowed to
Did you
cry.
didn't get me?
Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
Listen, when I first met Chris, he was the quietest person I've ever met. I thought he hated everyone. And then when I got to know him more, he's still the quietest person I ever met. And so he'll be sitting there internalizing the world. And I was like, you good? And he's like, this is life. Like, it's cool. And he's like having like a whole mental breakdown. Yeah, I'm cool. I was like, Chris.
But Chris is not quiet.
He's not.
I mean, he's quiet out of me and Sam. I think I'm pretty loud. Sam's pretty loud. But Chris is loud, but around y'all, he's kind of quiet.
It's
He's not
just
as
like
quiet with us.
I think it's because our group is very crazy and we go out into the extremes. I will still say Chris is quiet.
Okay, if we compare yeah, Chris is
He's on the tame man.
yeah, and you also got to realize like usually when one of y'all two are being loud, it's being towards me. So
No, that's not true. It's usually me and Sam going at each other. Then Chris is gonna start yelling at us to be quiet, and then we
y'all
turn
yell
our
at me
attention to Chris.
because I'm yelling at you.
Yeah, because you're not my daddy.
Everybody
It's Chris.
He's screaming at Chris. Yeah. Ashley, you're not my daddy. I'm the
Mm-mm. But I think like another thing to add to it, going off that. So if y'all listening don't know, Chris is my older brother, and we have another brother named Sam. So like
that's her twin, everybody.
Yeah. And Chris, like if our parents were gone, Chris was in charge of me and Sam. So they put that on Chris. So like if me and Sam was acting up, which 9 times out of 10 we'd be acting up, that pressure was on Chris. So Chris would get in trouble for it. So I think that happens in a lot of Black families too.
Chris,
So it's like,
Chris, I feel your pain.
so I feel like if one person's doing something wrong, so if like me and Sam was fighting or some crap, and Chris don't stop it, like Chris used to threaten to whoop me, and I'd be so scared. like Chris would threaten to whoop me, and I'd be like, "I'm gonna tell Daddy," and he's like, "You tell him, and I'm gonna whoop you again." So I'd be like, let me act right. You know what I mean?
Ashley, I think you and I are the only people on the call that are like a younger sibling, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know Fran has like older brother, but she's like the older sister, the oldest sister. So, I mean, what do you older siblings think?
No, I used to get in trouble.
Oh, Nita, sit down.
Yeah, because Jay would be at football practice all the time, and he would be with his friends. So I would be like in charge when Mom went to work or like she went shopping. And my little sister Shaq, oh, she didn't want to listen to nobody, especially me, because she's like, "You're only 1 year older than me, 2 years, 2 years older than her," and she's the only one that gave me lip. So since we're 1 year older, like I'm only 1 year apart. I hate to say it, me and my sister used to fight. Like I didn't learn how to internalize all those emotions. I'm not good at comebacks. So she could say one smart thing and I'll be like, "Stop," like and I just go, "I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to do that. I just didn't have a comeback." So it's like, just listen to me. But I used to get in trouble like if she didn't vacuum the floor, but that was her chore. Mom would be home, be like, "Why is my floor vacuum?" "Don't look at me. That's your daughter." She's like, "I left you in charge." "Oh, okay. I got it. I understand now. My bad." So, yeah. I used to get in trouble. Jay just moved out, so he didn't get in trouble.
Smart man.
Yeah, it was the same thing over here too, Fran. I mean, like if like she was saying earlier, usually I'd be left in charge of those two. So usually she'd be like, if we had like something to do, she would usually do it. But like if it's like Sam, my brother, he may or may not do it. 60-40 probably won't.
He won't. I said what I said.
So it's usually like we would like either and if I didn't notice and they would come home, it's a wrap. Both of us in trouble. And she's probably getting a stern talking to too, at least. So because like they just try to hold us all accountable, but it always comes back to me. It's just like, well, you're the older one, so you're the one who's responsible for it. No matter what the situation was. I could have been upstairs doing my own thing, doing whatever, and they were downstairs doing their own thing or doing whatever. And because I was, they were away from my supervision, doing whatever. That's my fault.
Yeah, I can co-sign. That is
one thing my mom did do. If I got in trouble, then she'll punish all of us. So instead of, I think that was like the smartest thing, and some people might think it's like cool, like why is she getting punished? She didn't do nothing. She did it because she wanted us to be tight-knit. She wanted us to go to each other when we're going through it. So all of us being punished together instead of like picking on each other and being like, oh, you stupid friend for doing that. It's like, all right, what we going to do next time, y'all? Because this can't happen again. I can't keep getting punished because you keep doing that. So instead of like pinning against each other, she like brought us together as siblings. And I appreciate it to this day.
It makes everybody accountable for everybody else's actions. I like
that. It doesn't single people out.
Yeah. So
I don't think that would work for everybody, but
no, but it makes sense how it work with y'all family. Why y'all are so close too. It makes sense.
Work for me.
Because she was like, look, all we have is each other, so y'all better get with it. And we got with it.
Yeah, it's interesting dynamic. Because my family's like the opposite kind of. Because I mean, my sister and I are 4.5 years apart. What's funny is that she's more of like the responsible kind of goody two shoes kind of person, especially in school. She's like the straight A student. I'm like the chaotic. I may be older, but I'm like the chaotic, like rebel child. Like sometimes almost too independent minded. Where I'm like, wow, I want to need to do this and do that. So. I'm like, I think my mom and I clash a lot more than they do, because they're kind of more like inline mindset, where I'm more like my dad. But I don't know, it's a interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I have two siblings, two brothers, but like one of them I'm like 5 years older than, and one of them was like a 7-year gap. So it was like we're like different. But when we were growing up, like our grandmother would like anytime like I did something stupid like in the past, they would associate what I did with them. So if they ever lied in school, that's my fault. I taught them how to lie. I taught them how to rob. Like, so I'm growing up. I was like, am I that bad? God damn it! Like I know I was stealing this shit, but I mean, am I that bad? But yeah. I mean. Every time, man, like they would do something and then it just falls on me somehow. Peter's fault.
Well, I hope you
don't internalize that.
Yeah, I hope you understand that. Do you understand where it's coming from?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. Like,
I think
really don't know.
Just like the
by association.
Yeah, it's like when they see that you're the eldest in our culture. You can't really mess up. Because like, if you mess up, they'll just attribute everything to you. If the younger ones start doing certain things similar, it's like, oh, Peter, did you teach him how to do this?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the role model.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to be like the goody two shoes.
Automatically assume you're the influence.
Yeah, just because of Pat. And I did some crazy things, but I can't teach somebody how to lie.
Right.
How do I get a manual?
Is there anything you would have like changed about the way they went about it? Like, do you think it played a big toll on you? Like,
I mean, it wasn't really like my mother who did that. It was my grandmother. So yeah, I just like my mother is not like she equally punishes. So like if you did something stupid, she just gets on you for that. Whereas my grandmother had like an older way to thinking of like, if you did something bad, that means you learned it from the elder. So I just think it's a generational thing. Because my mom, obviously, she's cool, not really on that type of stuff.
But do you think that tough love has built you to the man you are today? Like it made you tough a little bit
to make you conscious.
Yeah.
It made me tough. It made me angry. You know what I'm saying? But it did definitely toughen me up because like our culture, like crying is a no-no.
Yeah.
You could get whooped for crying. So crying is a no-no. And yeah, man, back in the day, man, it's crazy. But
I'm a doctor, and I'm not trying to be one, but you see how you just played all that off and you just like laughed it off instead of like, well, you're not going to deal with it right now because it's not a therapy session, but you think you should like take that anger and, you know,
release it.
Yeah, and try to heal from it instead of, you know, it's cool. It's cool. But, you know.
That's true.
Have you talked to your grandmother about it?
I mean, I had a moment. We had a moment like a couple of years ago that went a little left, but not really. I don't like. She's too old school, man. It's like hard to like. Like when certain people think a certain way, they're not gonna change. It's like
I feel you, man.
I said I'm gonna move on. You can be if you want to be on because if you want to be on that petty stuff, you can do that. I moved on. I'm doing my own thing, so I don't really care to address it.
Right. Now, how would you... I'm sorry for all the questions. I didn't mean to turn it into a Peter show. But I just want, as a culture and as a community, how are you going to stop that cycle for when you have your kids?
That's a good question.
Because it's easier said than done. Like, oh, I'm not going to do that with my kids. And then you have kids.
I kind of had like a father that was kind of abusive in a certain way. So I saw certain things that like I just wouldn't do, like from a young age. So I don't like to be I don't want to be that type of parent that's just like always on his kids. Because when you do that, they tend to hide and they will never open up to you. So like I don't want to be that type of parent. But at the same time, I don't want them to like think they can just talk to me anyhow.
Right.
Yeah, they're not your friend.
Yeah, I'm not your friend. I'm just your parent. So I think balancing it definitely helps.
Yeah, you can be friendly with your kids, but like they have to have that respect for you. Yeah. And I know for me, just growing up with because I said so, like that drove me absolutely insane because like just knowing my personality, I like to know, like get down to the core root of why this happens or why this is done. Like what leads to this kind of behavior, this mindset. And then to hear something because I said so, it's kind of like just brushing it off like, oh, you don't matter. Like you'll never understand it. And so that would drive me insane and almost kind of treat me like I'm stupid.
It's not because they're stupid. It's because they don't know. They don't want to go this because they're supposed to know everything in your eyes, but they don't want to be.
Or they don't want to take time to like explain, and that's one thing I don't like for my kids. If there's anything, I want to be able to explain to them why this happened, so they're not looking for like a reason somewhere else or like, I don't.
No, I understand because sometimes when I'm working with the kids, I have to catch myself from saying because I said so. Yeah. But again, I'm like, where a part of me grew up on, I don't question adults.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if a child, hey, log on to your class, and they say why? Yeah, I would say that too. Like,
if it's like constantly like, why I gotta do this? Why I gotta do that? Then I can sort of, But
it needs to be a balance.
It's a balance. Like my mom, I think we didn't have the relationship we had all the time because right now my mom is one of my best friends, but we weren't always like that. I think she had yelled at me, and I was like trying to explain my side of it, but she yelled over me. She was like, "And don't you think you gonna come out your mouth and talk to this?" And I was like, "Okay," and shut down. And I think she shut down in that moment. And she to me, and she was just like, "What were you going to say?" And so I think the whole relationship changes when she actually gave a chance to explain myself and to talk for myself, instead of just shutting me down. Now, with my mom is a different story because from our background, she had to break the cycle. It was too much chaos, and she broke the cycle. And that moment right there, it only takes one moment to change everything. So that moment right there, to me, broke the cycle, and now I can talk to mom. Of course, I ain't gonna talk to her about everything, but from what I'm saying is, it was for my mom to change the cycle. Like, of course, I'd be ready to change the cycle every day, but it's not gonna work if she's not ready to do it. So I believe like parents aren't like she told herself, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that when I grow up and have kids," but she actually did it. She didn't just say it.
Yeah.
She actually did it. So I believe like when you guys talk to your moms and dads, I'm not specifically saying you guys, but like when people talk to their moms and dads, they're looking for they have all this hope and this trust that something's going to change, but it's sad to say that nothing's going to change unless that parent really wants it to. Because if they're okay with the relationship you guys have right now, that's what it's going to be, and that sucks. Because a lot of kids because we're still kids in our parents' eyes, even though we're 25 and up, but a lot of kids want better for their relationships and want to better their relationships, and their parents have this like wall up that we can't break down. And the only way they can break that down is if they work on it and they heal from whatever put that wall up. And it just sucks. So I'm sorry that kids go through that.
Yeah, because that's the kind of like the situation I'm in. It's kind of similar to Peter's, where my mom's kind of like his grandmother. And like my mentality, it takes two, like you said, but if the other person doesn't want to, I guess, recognize that or change, then, it's definitely put a strain on our relationship. I think that's actually one of the, one of my anxiety inducers, just being in close proximity with like just completely different mindsets. It's like, it's just a lot of friction. And so, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
I think that whole because I said so thing kind of comes from like the parents' own anxiety too, like them being tired and
the survival mindset.
Yeah, and it's easy, something that like you're my child, just listen to me while I do this, because they aren't wrong, but they're nowhere near right either, because it's not because you said so. There is a reason because of it, but the part of the reason is because they said so. But there is an actual reasoning behind it. It's like your mom tells you don't put your hand on the stove because I told you to. It's because you scold yourself, but she also wants you to be like obedient in that sense. And she could stop and explain that to you, or but she may be tired and doesn't like this boy should just know better than this. So just because I said so, just know that you don't do that. Don't touch your hot stuff. And again, like at some point, you probably shouldn't have to explain something that simple, but just for the sake of the explanation, it's just, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my mom let me learn on my own. If I question too much, because I would ask her stuff all the time, and then at some point she wouldn't have the answer because I would ask so many questions. She's like, "Damn, I ran out of answers."
Yeah.
She told me not to slide down the stairs. And I was like, "Why?" I don't even think she told me why, but I mean, it was so I didn't get carpet burn. No, she did. I was like, "Why?" She was like, "So you won't get carpet burn." I was like, "Oh," and my dumb ass did it anyway, and I got carpet burn. And that's how I learned.
Ashley still to this day questions you.
Yeah, I do. Like,
25 years old. Hey, Ashley, don't put the blanket on the floor. Why?
I just have to know why.
What do you mean why?
I mean,
Because I don't want
I'm
my
gonna
blanket.
do it, but I want to know why. I want to learn.
She is still curious because she's a cat.
I think that was one of my biggest issues as a kid. Always asking why and wanting an answer. And that's probably why I got my butt tore up as much as I did.
That sounds like a young sibling thing.
Yeah.
Right?
The little child thing. 'Cause y'all get away with a lot of stuff.
I don't know about that, man.
I know.
I don't know, because if my parents didn't catch me, Chris caught me, and I was getting a punishment some way, somehow.
That's what I'm
Because if they
saying.
found, because like if they found out, I get in trouble, you get in trouble, and depending if he knew, he got in trouble too.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, like I said, it was me and Sam causing the ruckus.
Chris just cleaned him up.
Yeah, Chris coming in the room, yelling at us, fussing.
I wish one time my sister had broke a lamp, something simple, and I went in the room. It was like, ooh, you gonna get in trouble. You got and I get in trouble. She was like, and did you know she broke it? Huh? What? Yes. You ain't tell me either. Yeah, so like, yeah, I was like, okay.
Did you learn?
Mind my business. But yeah, we all got in trouble except Jay. Jay was smart. I mean, he'd be like, yo, why do y'all keep doing stupid stuff? Like, and we'd be like, we don't know.
That was Chris for us.
But I don't understand. Do y'all like it when mom yell at y'all? No. And why do y'all keep doing stupid stuff?
That's how I do my little sisters. I try to school her so much. I'm like, you know, mommy doesn't like when you do this. You could do it the exact same way to the T. And then you wonder why you get yelled at. She's so mean to me. She hates me. Maybe you should stop doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
And then maybe after you do that, she'll get off you. Just think about it. You know?
But they gonna grow into that.
She is very stubborn. Like,
And what are you?
no, she is like real. She lucky that we're 11 years apart. I'm just saying, because I would have fought that little girl. She's still a little bit.
You still fight her.
No, I don't fight her like I want to. She's gotten a lot better. It's kind of like you and Shaq. Like, she would just not listen. And I'm like, if you don't want to listen to me, then you just want to get yelled at because I'm trying to save you.
Yeah.
That's what boys learn to sometimes. They just gotta learn by themselves.
Yeah.
I guess that's like you saying with yourself though. You gotta learn by yourself.
I didn't have anybody to learn from.
Yeah.
I learned through YouTube. Greatest teacher of all time.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but how was colorism affected
Oh,
y'all? I think I hit a nerve. I hit a nerve. I had a nerve there. How do you think colorism affects not just you in general, but just Black people in general?
It's super divisive.
Go ahead, girl. Go off. Colorism. The thing was not real. They ignored it. That's not true. She just ugly because she ugly. It's not because she dark skinned.
Thank you. No problem.
I think like a lot of those, it's like crazy when you really think about things and like little comments that Black people would say, and you just brush it off because that's just what we said, is what we did. But now that you're aware of things, you realize, oh, that was colorism. That was anti-Black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we definitely are the generation that's feel it because we're so aware. Everything that our parents and our grandparents and all that stuff that they passed down that it was okay. Like, I remember when I was growing up, I didn't want to get darker. I don't want to be in the sun too much because I don't want to get darker. I'm already Black. And I'm like, what? Like, you think about stuff like that now, and it's just like, why did you feel that way?
Right.
What's wrong with being black? Nothing. Everybody.
I am someone who also felt the same way, but I don't know what changed or what clicked, but I am like loving my skin that I am. So
that is an accomplishment.
It really is an accomplishment. Thank you.
Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful.
Because we're told that the darker like you are, is like the more unappealing you are. So like a lighter shade is what's right. Like no, the way I love my dark skin is crazy. I could do so much. I could eat so much. I love so much. So it's like I just love it, and I love the fact that my mom. We actually had a big conversation about colorism. She didn't think I had an issue with it.
It was Oprah's thing, right? With the dark skinned girls and the light skinned girls.
Yeah, she thought because she grew up, she went to city school, so everybody was black. It didn't matter what color you were, everybody was just black. But we went to county schools, so I was looked down upon because I'm like, oh, first I was a new girl, then I was a dark skinned girl, so ain't nobody looked my way. I was bullied. I was, it happened. And I told my mom about this. I think I was in college when I told her about it, and she cried. And I was like, Mom, why are you crying? She's like, I did not know you were having issues with this. And we had conversations since about it, and she just was like, if I had known, I would have definitely like nipped that in the bud at the time. But I didn't know it was an issue until I grew up. It was like, oh wait.
Like we were aware, but like we didn't know it was an issue.
It was normal.
Yeah.
I thought it was normal. I'm dark skinned. He doesn't like me because I'm dark skinned. But no. If somebody would have definitely told me that, because I'm sorry, I don't care what y'all say, everybody wanted a black woman. Or B1, yeah. So
yeah.
Because look at beauty standards today.
You said what?
I said look at beauty standards today.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian and them all trying to look like they black and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the lips.
Yeah.
Don't forget the butt.
I know.
The lips.
The waist ratio.
The braids. I'm sorry, the braids.
That
bother
the boxer braids.
Yes.
Gerard, what do you think?
Huh?
About the braids. What do you think?
On who?
About the braids. White people with braids.
Why are you laughing?
It's off. Like it throws me off. Mostly because like it was us who get demonized and considered thugs if we had braids. We're like uncultured, but white people do it. It's a fashion statement. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's weird because it's like it's fetishized now.
Yeah,
they fetishize us. Fashion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Everybody want to be black, but nobody want to be black type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's fun to dress up.
It's black when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. For me, I know like growing up, like toddler to maybe early elementary school. I never saw. I wasn't the type of like I never saw race. I never saw, I guess, the different skin tones as a problem, or I never saw it in my society like as a problem because I went to school with multiracial people, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Indian. But it wasn't until like I went to public school, like right around the time like I met Sion, like late elementary school, and I noticed like a lot of the light-skinned kids would be the ones who would get like a lot of the attention and were the ones who were considered attractive, especially by girls, and they're popular. And dark-skinned dudes like me were just kind of seen as ugly. and unwanted, and that hurt so much to the point where I just like I hated my dark skin, man. All the way up until like late high school. Because I just saw a constant pattern of, if you're light skinned, you're valued a lot higher than dark skin. But it wasn't until late high school and college, or actually, even in middle school, very sad to say, I didn't see dark skinned girls as attractive. And looking back, I was a dumbass, but I just didn't value them as attractive. I value white girls, Asian girls, all stuff attractive, but surrounded by all my friends, that's what they valued. That's what the society around me valued. I was like, I'll value that too. But it wasn't until like I said, late high school and college, especially college, I learned to love my beautiful black skin. Even though I look kind of purple today, but it's okay. Yeah, I learned. I was like, hey, I could be, Morris Chestnut, Taye Diggs, Blair Underwood, like all beautiful black men. So I was like, what's wrong with my skin? And I learned to just love myself, and I stopped caring what people said or what people thought. Yeah.
Do you see like the correlation between you hating your own skin as a dark skinned man and you pushing that onto dark skinned women, therefore hating them too? I think a lot of black men, especially dark skinned black men, they internalize that self hate, and then instead of, as per usual, they will push that hate onto dark skinned black women or brown skinned black women and make them feel insecure, when in reality it's black men that feel insecure. Yeah.
And I it's just weird that I shifted, because like as a toddler, like really young kid, I love dark skinned women. Oh my God, man. Brandy was my biggest crush back in the day. Ooh, man. And then just over time, I had that switch in the mindset. And then just looking back, I'm like, damn, man, that was just a crazy time.
You see that a lot with rappers. Yeah. Like Kodak Black, he got some fucking number. But he was they were asking him about his dating preferences and all that stuff. He was like, they asked him if he's like Keke Palmer. Born. He was like, she cute or whatever, but she too dark. I don't like dark skins. And then he got a lyric that was like, don't want no black bitch, I'm already black. And a lot of them fake like that.
And I believe it's because
that's so crazy.
I feel like as humans, we always look to like if their partner. Once you see your partner, you see your kids, and maybe because whatever they went through as a dark-skinned person, they don't want their kids to go through it. It is like that. So it's like, I like dark-skinned women because I don't want a dark-skinned baby, and then I'm gonna have to teach my child to actually love their skin they're in, but I don't even know how to love my skin. So it's like they're trying to avoid that altogether. So it's like easier to just, hey, I like light-skinned women. I prefer light-skinned women because then I don't have to deal with my child being picked on or being looked over or not being valued for their skin because they're light and pretty and white.
And piggybacking off of that, the Eurocentric values that we put in every single country, if you see it across the world, it's not just America, but you see the lighter portion of whatever race they're representing, and that's the
face of the country.
The face of the country. So when you get like, we have a black actress in our movie, we have a black whatever, and it's like a biracial person. And I'm confused as to, well, I'm not really confused, but you can just see it is, and it's upsetting because it's like this narrative that's perpetuating that black people are good enough. The darker you are, you don't have any positive connotations to say about it. So you see this erasure of black voices, of black faces, and then it's like we cannot be valued as that. So this pro-black movement of seeing Fenty lines and seeing a lot more Black representation of being comfortable in the skin that you're in, not trying to lighten your skin, okay with having kinkier hair, okay with having braids. And I mean, I'm sick of seeing light-skinned people of any kind of race representing all of us. We come in different, we're not a monolith. We have so many beautiful colors within us. And I think it's about time we start to center the voices around the most oppressed, which are the darker skinned people of Black people. Let's start there because that's who we are.
And it brings it back to mental health because we're so oppressed, it's normal to be oppressed, like the darker skin. And we are looked at as, oh, she's strong. He's strong. So
I hate that
he'll
so much.
like he's strong. He'll get over it. He'll get by. Like he'll get through this one.
We're dehumanized that way.
Well, they only know they're strong.
Yeah.
They be all right.
They're okay.
Yeah, but if Sally over there had her feelings hurt, she had 3 therapists, psychiatrists.
Sally needs help, you guys. Like,
you gotta help her right now.
Write a petition right now. Like, no.
We're gonna have a GoFundMe just for Sally.
Come on, y'all.
And I'm like, what about everybody else who went down in the dumps and struggling and actually having like hard problems? And so it's like we have to fight and kick our way and let people know, hey, we have feelings too.
Exactly.
And what's funny is that just like a slight tangent. That's the exact same thing that's happening with the I guess the opioid epidemic. It's the number one killer of white people. Like it's the number one killer of white people. So there's all this attention to it now. But back in the day when they were flooding our streets with crack, where were they? Where's
they didn't criminalize us.
That's what
it's because they don't care about us. They really don't. And the problem is, like, they don't see it. Like, I go to a PWI. None of them realize, like, I'm not trying to put everybody in a category because I do have like 1 or 2 friends, and I'll say it, 1 or 2 friends that understand the struggle, but the majority of them don't understand the struggle. You know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere on the news. So like at this point, I'm like, you're choosing to ignore the differences. You know what I mean? And it literally makes me angry. And I try to, like, you try to educate people on it. But it's like, especially with the election, everybody's talking about, oh, all these stupid liberals, they just want the police defunded and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, we want the police to stop killing Black folks. Well, I get so angry thinking about it because it's like, y'all don't understand. Like, how, if you consider me your friend, why wouldn't you address it? You know what I mean? If we're really friends, why wouldn't you address it? And let that sink in. Are you really friends with somebody if you don't understand their struggle? If you don't see people looking at me when I was sitting in the cafe and somebody saying the N-word and you just gonna sit there while I go off on them? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's just like, are you really my friend, or are you just sitting here because it's easy just to say, oh, I have a colored friend. Don't call me a colored friend. I'm Black. You know what I'm saying? Don't say that. You're not transparent. You white. You a color too. You know what I'm saying? Like, thinking about that just kind of makes me angry because going off of what Gerard said, like the opioids. Like, I go to school in Western PA. You see the what are they called? The signs on the side of the road or whatever. You see those all over the place. Do you need help? Free help all over the place. But you don't see if you go to like a predominantly Black area, you ain't gonna see nothing like that. You're just gonna see police cars.
You'll see a liquor store.
Police cars on literally, and people don't understand that. They really don't. I'm getting mad thinking about it. I'm sorry.
I think my true breaking point with that was one time I came up to see Fran, I think, and you told me your youngest sister even took notice of that, and not to say I think she was still in high school at the time, because this was and not to say like she's not very bright or anything, because she truly is, but
she's the smartest one of all of us.
If a child can see this, then this 35-year-old man over here can see this, regardless of race. You should be able to see this. It's just It's just a complete lack of empathy on their behalf and saying like, this is an epidemic, and that is just you guys' problem. You guys need to straighten up your
Right.
and this,
But
that,
that's
and
the
third. And it's just like you literally are ignoring the exact same problem with just a different substance. And that's crazy. That is literally crazy. You're looking at the same problem, putting a B instead of a C there, and now, hey, it's a problem. It's a problem, guys. We got to do something to solve this problem.
Right. Our people are dying off.
That's how they stay on top, though. They say, F y'all, but we have to take care of our own. We don't care about y'all.
Right.
And then if you bring that back to the pandemic that's going on now, it's killing the majority of minorities. I'm not trying to generalize. I'm gonna put that out there. But there's white people in these little country towns that don't want to wear masks. Don't get me wrong. There's black folks that don't want to wear masks too. But come on now,
Drives me crazy.
It just doesn't. It don't make sense.
It's been politicized,
literally,
and it shouldn't.
Yeah.
No, health is not a political statement.
Only in this country, man. Only in this country would something like that be politicized.
Yeah, it don't make any type of sense to me. Especially, like I said, I go to school in Western Pennsylvania. That's Trump country. I don't care if you're a Democrat, and I don't care if you're a Republican. I just hope you have some common sense enough to put on a mask. You know what I mean? Like I'll go out somewhere and people don't have masks on. I'm like, get away from me. Like I got into it with this man at Giant Eagle. I'm standing in line in Slippery Rock trying to get my daggone groceries, and this man gonna come stand right behind me. And I turned around and I said, "Excuse me," and he just looking at me like I'm crazy. And I said, "Excuse me, I need 6 feet." You know what I mean? Like people ignore it, and I'm not trying to be mean to people, but like, what you trying to do? Like, you see the little stickers on the ground. Stand on your sticker.
Actually,
what's funny is that I work with some of those people, you know?
What'd you say?
Like, I was saying I work with some of those like type of people, and even in sometimes close proximity, because like we had to one point go into the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the rule, like the building manager's rule, is like if you're walking around the halls, you know, you have to have a mask on. If you're in your office, you don't have to have a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at one point I was in my office alone, and so I didn't have a mask at all. I would go in and do some work and go home. But then soon my coworkers started to come back into our office. We share office, but got to the point where they were way too lax because they're kind of like the kind of people who are like, you know, it impedes on my rights as American and whatnot. And so I was like, hell no, man, I'll keep my mask on until I go home, you know, because they don't take it that seriously. It's like, it shouldn't be political, man. It should be basic, like decency. We're all affected by this. So we should all be in this together to help like save like our people. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're black, white, Hispanic, who cares? Like old, young, we all Americans, we gotta do what we can to save ourselves. But when you like individualize yourself, like, oh no, I'm my own individual, you know, especially with this pandemic, you know, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you and everyone you communicate with. So the fact that this politicized is just complete bull. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and again, it was a whole like complete like lack of empathy type thing. Like if I can do something to help my neighbor, which is as simple as putting on my mask just in case that I'm sick, I don't spread my germs to them.
Thank you.
It's not hard.
It is a simple task.
There's no paperwork involved.
Mask costs $5 at CVS. At least the last time I was at CVS, the mask was $5 over here.
Oh, they went up.
Yeah, they went up.
Okay. But still, it's just like it's not. But just in general, it's not hard. It's not hard.
Look, Americans are notorious to be super patriotic, and I'll do anything for my country. And
until it affects somebody you know. But
yeah.
Americans are selfish.
You say put on a mask, and they're the first person to cry about it, and it's whatever they want to do. And
talking about civil rights
to cry about. Thank you. I'm like, I will die on this hill. I swear, it blows my mind to this day that it's not harming you and you are still going to put up a fight. A grown person is going to have a full-blown tantrum in a grocery store in public for not breathing on other people.
It impedes on my rights as an American.
And they always say it's so hard to breathe, or they feel restricted. It's the same thing with like putting on a shirt. I'm an asthmatic, and so is Gerard. We're both asthmatic, and we wear our mask. And I was in Frank too. When I was going back into the office all day, I wore my mask all day for 8 hours as an asthmatic, and I was fine.
You see little babies wear masks.
Exactly.
It
doesn't. It just you make them slightly uncomfortable. I don't like this, so I won't do it.
I was watching a news segment about one of the nurses in the ER, and I think she's like from a Midwestern state, like North Dakota or something like that.
Oh.
And she told me she didn't tell me, but she was telling the news reporter, when people are dying from COVID, they don't even believe it's a real thing. They think it's a hoax. So their last breath, instead of asking for their family, they're just like, it's not real.
Yeah,
so people are in this delirium state where they are still yet to face the facts that it's a real thing. It kills people. And these frontline workers are putting the whole society on their backs because these people are being fed lies. And that's a bigger can of worms I'm not willing to go into right now because that's a whole nother segment because I thought we were on colorism.
Thank you very much.
But it is awful to see how it was exposing, like what Ashley said earlier. It's exposing how stupid we really are as a country.
We look like a joke to the world.
We really do.
Great. America that the world has once seen.
They do one more right, and they think they're amazing.
It's just good marketing. That's all.
The marketing that we had, the good marketing.
Branding is beautiful, but really look at what they really stand on, which is stolen land and slavery. It's not that great.
Genocide.
Preach.
So that's why when people say Happy Thanksgiving, I'm like Indigenous Day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Or Columbus Day. Nah, it's Indigenous Day.
Start on that, man.
Just to come back on the colorism thing, because I know we went on a little spin. I think
reel us back in, Peter.
Yeah. For me, I'll make this short, but for me personally, that growing up dark skinned my whole life, like guys like Michael Jordan, Martin Lawrence, all these characters, I didn't see the diminishing yet till like I reached like middle school.
Sorry.
And then like Gerard, you were saying like the light skinned guys, they got all the girls, were talked about. So like for me, I envy that heavy.
Yeah.
And then it's like everybody came for me. If you're dark skinned, everybody comes for you. The Mexicans, the white people. Everybody comes for you when you're dark skinned.
All dark skin jokes.
Yeah, all the dark skin jokes. So, I mean, if it's a dude saying those jokes, like, I don't care. We could always duke it out, like fight. But a female, I can't say nothing. Like I can't really say nothing to a female that calls me ugly or whatever. So I just got to take that. And like for the longest,
she can get it
because it's like I can't I like to fight. I don't like to just. I'm not good with comebacks. I like to fight. So I'm not really good. I like to fight. So when a girl does that, it's like, dang, like now because now thinking about it now, that's like my biggest anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to a girl,
and it's hard.
That's my biggest anxiety.
It's hard when you have low self-esteem as well, because you're not really willing to fight for yourself, and it's sad, man. It's like just remember those days. Just
on mental health.
Yeah. Charlie Murphy jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Black and purple. But yeah, that's my experience in a nutshell. How I dealt with colorism.
I don't think I really I mean, obviously, we all experienced it because people always have like the black jokes and stuff like that. But like me being a twin, me and Sam are two different shades. So people used to always make like little remarks and stuff like that. They'd be like, "Well, why is he darker than you? Y'all have two different dads," stuff like that. And I'd be like, "So what you trying to say about my mother?" You know, black people come out in different shades. But like other than that, I mean, people would always make comments about our hair, saying, "Why is our hair so curly?" And we're darker skinned. They'd always want to ask, "What are we mixed with?" And ask what ethnicity our grandmother is, our grandfather, and stuff like that. And I'd be like, "That's none of your business. You're trying to just like generalize. You know what I mean?" And
people associate those kind of negative traits with blackness. They see like a hint of, oh, you got hazel eyes. Oh, that's cute. But I know you didn't get that from your black
Right.
side.
Like I wore my hair out in like one puff, and my coworker at the time, she was just like, "Wait, that's all your hair?" I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, this whole time, I thought that was like a hairpiece.
Okay, like it was. Mind you,
It still would be mine if it was a hairpiece. But I'm not supposed to have growing hair, I guess.
I mean that's a generalization for black women. We all bald headed.
Yeah.
And people want to touch your hair too.
Oh my goodness.
Because because I remember at work. Hold on. I remember at work, my supervisor at the time, she's Nigerian, and she has different hairstyles, you know, like a couple months. And one of my coworkers, she's Asian, she's like, "Oh, love your hair. Stop. Can I touch your hair?" And I looked at her, she looked at me, and was like, "No." And then I had to pull my coworker, so I was like, "Hey, you know, especially like black me, like you don't do that ever. Period. Like you don't
Fighting words.
touching people's just don't go around touching people's hair. Period. Especially black people, man, because that, like I said, just kind of just fetishizes us.
It makes it seem like
we're
we're
some
an animal.
exotic being.
Like we're animals. Why do you want to pet me?
I mean, we have been treated like that. We actually of us.
I don't know why like lighter skinned folks are like stigmatized to be pretty. That bothers me.
So white, and whiteness is the epitome of beauty, apparently.
They're close to Eurocentric.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the word preference. Oh, I prefer light skinned women. You don't prefer light skinned women. You've just been taught to like light skinned and white.
Girl, you better preach.
There's no
like those beige.
preference. Preference means that you like this and you like that. But if you had both of these in front of you, you would pick this one over that one. That means that you like them both. The way that black men use the word preference, they don't like this one. They don't like the dark skin. They have a mandate for light skin because they hate themselves. And I mean, it's the truth. We all black. You have to value your blackness in all shades. If you're telling me you don't like this shade or that shade, you don't love yourself.
Thank you.
That's facts. That's facts.
That's why I don't even get mad anymore. I'm just like,
shout out to the beige community.
Jemima Mix.
Yeah, shout out to them.
We love all of our black brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and even in our family, not our immediate family, but like our whole extended family, like we have a big like range.
Very big.
It's literally like some can pass for white, and then some are like very, 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 very dark. And so, like, I've never. I mean, like, I've experienced it there where like they might, like the older people say something, you know, like you're like that doesn't sound right, you know, like you're looking at that, but being younger, you know, like our generation generally knows not to speak like that, and then it's just kind of like, I guess I never really acknowledged that until maybe high school when not with my family, but like I heard like a similar joke said to one of my football teammates. Like people kept calling him purple and stuff, and I didn't get it neither. And like I told him to like leave him alone because he wasn't fighting back very much. And I guess I didn't sit down like at that time, but just like over over time, because even around that time, it was like Team Light Skin versus Team Dark Skin. Y'all remember that? It was all over like YouTube.
Still going on.
Like that. Well, still going on, but like it was like people making money off of it though.
Yeah.
And so like, and I never really like realized, because I like, to me, black was black.
Same.
Because
Yeah.
like me and Ashley are both like pretty middle complexion. We always have been. But Sam, our brother, is darker than we are, like she said earlier.
Sam got a pretty chocolate color to him.
Yeah, and people, and because he was my brother, people never really like mess with him like that much. So that it is what it is. But so like until like that moment where I seen like my my teammate being picked on for his skin tone, I never like truly like acknowledged like people like spoke like that outside like their families.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Going off of
Really?
Yeah. I remember like the Yo Mama jokes, and this one kid was like, her teeth so yellow, she looked like a Pittsburgh Steelers player. Like, damn.
I never heard that one before.
Neither. But going off of what Chris was saying, I guess I never really thought about it like outside of our family, literally until now. Like, so our mom's side is a little bit, they got a little bit of everything, black, white, you know, this, that, Hispanic, a little bit of this and that. So like people would make jokes, like we'd make jokes, but it wasn't like, we'd hear jokes, but we didn't ever pay it much attention. Like we'd hear it and we'd be like, that's messed up, because we're sitting here, we're like, me and my brothers, we're like the darker ones, so we're sitting there and all like the lighter skinned cousins and aunts and uncles are like laughing and joking, and we're sitting here like like I'm chocolate, I'm sitting here, y'all are making all these light skinned jokes. And I actually brought it up to my grandmother, and I was like, you shouldn't speak like this, because your grandchildren are dark skinned, you may be very light skinned, but we're not. You're married to a very dark-skinned man, so you got to consider that. And she was like, I never thought about it like that. We were just joking. And I was like, but it's not funny.
But the light skin jokes?
Well, it kind of goes both ways. It's both ways. So, like, my grandfather is very dark-skinned man, and my grandma's very, very light-skinned. So, like, when they get angry at each other, they'll be going back and forth. And, like, it's funny in the house, but it's like, it's really not, you know what I mean? Like as kids, we would laugh, but like as we got older, I'm like, hold up,
it's about why.
So
they associate dark skin with like masculine, and that's why a lot of dark skinned women are seen as masculine and angry and strong and all of these, and they always associate light skin with fancy, beauty, femininity. That's why light skin is soft. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of light dudes are seen as soft, and they have to overcompensate. A lot of them are more aggressive than dark skinned men.
Yeah.
That internalization.
One thing I loved is that my grandmother, she's my mom's godmother, but she that didn't make no difference, just family to us. And she was so light skinned to the point, and I thought she was, for the longest time, like as a kid, I thought she was Asian. Like, because her eyes kind of squinted too, and she's like super light skinned. I thought she was Asian. But I just remember like anytime I go down and visit her, she always talk about how she loves her like her chocolatey men. She loves her dark skinned men.
I think it's a reason for that.
Huh?
I think it's a reason that she loves dark skin. Because they love, like, skin men love light skin women.
Huh?
I think it's a reason that a lot of light skinned women go towards dark skinned men and vice versa. Internalization is of like dark skin is
you say
light skin is feminine. So the opposites attract. They go towards both.
Are you talking about the men being feminine?
No.
My bad.
Darker men are considered more masculine.
Darker skin is
like talking about your family, and y'all are talking about all these light skinned women and dark skinned men. It's just like, it's crazy when you notice it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to unlearn my behaviors when it comes to dissing lighter skinned men.
It proves me.
As long as you realize that it's a problem, you know what I mean? At least you can realize the fault in that, you know what I mean? Because
It's cool to crack.
we're all the same.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to crack one or two jokes. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just jokes.
Shamar, mark this moment though. When you listen to this, Shamar, mark this moment. You said it.
It's cool to crack, you know, two or three jokes. Oh, let it go, man. It's just jokes.
It's jokes.
The last one on here. How do you like heal from like traumatic experiences?
How do you heal?
Yeah.
You notice you were in a traumatic experience and you deal with it. If you don't realize that whatever you went through was traumatic, then you're just going to go about your day. And there is no healing or no fixing that experience because, mom just slapped me across the face. That's okay. But you later down the road, something triggers you, like something slap you across the face, and then you having flashbacks of when your mama slapped you across your face. So if you don't notice it's a traumatic experience, then I think you're not going to deal with it and you're not going to heal from it or work on it. I think the first step is to recognize what you're going through.
Yeah, and that's why it's so like important to like pay attention to like how you're feeling, because like when you deal with a physical traumatic experience, like let's say you get into a car accident, it's not something you can ignore. You're physically feeling, as opposed to like if you're having a mental traumatic experience and you suppress it for 20 years, you literally may not realize until like that 20 years later. When, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened to me. How did I not like realize this until just now? And that's just a whole nother can of worms right there. And it's just the whole realization is so much more important than people realize, because they'll be like, oh, well, this isn't a big problem because I don't feel like it is, because I'm suppressing that emotion, which is just a whole other thing in itself there, because you're suppressing the emotion that of that memory, which you're also suppressing, which is just all the stress that you're building up when it comes to like that realization. It's just, I don't even know how to verbalize it. It's just, a lot.
It gets time too. Like if you're going through, or if you know that you went through a traumatic experience, like it's not gonna like heal like within a couple of months. You need like a couple years and some therapy to really get through it. And you know what I'm saying? Like what bothered me was I think was it last year, somebody's brother got shot by an officer, by a female officer in the house.
Yeah.
And the brother went on the stand and like he forgave the shooter, which is a white woman. And that bothered me because it's like your brother just died like a month or two ago. Like you can't get off of that trauma so quickly. So to apologize. I mean, to like forgive her. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when Black people go through these traumatic experiences, we shouldn't just be so quick to forgive. We should like hold them accountable. And you know what I'm saying? It'll help us in the long run. Because if we always do that, the cycle continues. They will continue to.
They'll look at us to be the bigger person always.
Always. And then it's always abuse. It will abuse. It's like the cycle continues. So I feel like we should like put our foot down more. And that'll help. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people are afraid of the healing process, so they tend not to do the work. And I think that's the common like misconception about healing. They think it's a linear process, like every day is going to get better, but you're going to backslide and it's going to get worse before it gets better. And you're going to have times where you feel like all these months of progress are just not working. And so you should might as well just be the same. But I would always want to encourage people just to not stop, even if it doesn't feel like you're getting there, because healing from childhood traumas or whatever you went through that really shifted the way you live, it's going to take a lot more than just, I'm going to therapy. It's going to take the work. And I know that's like an overused thing, but you have to stop yourself from thinking the worst of things about yourself, about your future. And you have to be like, no, stop. You have to stop yourself in the tracks and feed yourself positivity. And you just have to keep doing that. You have to stop your way of thinking, and really everything else will start to follow. But it's a very hard process.
We're taught to keep going. We're taught to just get back up and keep moving, keep moving. And I'm not saying stay down in that moment, but get on your feet, dust yourself off. Like that dusting yourself off part is the part that's going to help you keep walking forward and pushing forward, not just get up and then start walking again. Like I feel like we missed a step because we're not taught to work on ourselves. So we're not taught to love ourselves. But once we don't love ourselves, or once we are like not into ourselves and taking care of ourselves, then it's so easy for someone to be like, oh, you need to work on yourself. Oh, you need to take care of yourself and love yourself.
Where's the help?
Yeah. Now all you have is love yourself, work on yourself, do this. How? Like I should have been learning how to do that before I was forced to do it, you know? So I definitely agree with Michaela.
I also think it's important to, like, when you feel like you're backsliding, to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to like power through it and struggle through, be like, okay, I can get this, I can do this by myself. And sometimes you do need help.
Yes.
And like you may not even realize it. You could just be like, I don't know, let's like you were saying earlier, friend, you call Michaela sometimes, you be like, hey girl, what's up? You know, I'm just, it can be a simple conversation. It doesn't have to be a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't want to bring in like that extra variable, that extra person come help and like just help push you along the way. I'm not saying they necessarily like have to hold your hand or anything, but it is good to like have someone else to like help you, because you can't always do all the work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think sometimes black men see themselves as like Superman. You can't like show any weakness at all. Or like your friend will tease you or say something about you, like, oh, you soft or you weak. So I think that plays into it. Where I feel like as women, black women feel like they can always talk to each other, like have that camaraderie without being petty.
No, I mean, it's somewhat.
Actually, yeah, as a group.
Because Ashley Kelly, you know, she was like, don't be in my business, you know?
Okay,
then,
all right.
You know,
But I think it's different for me, though, because y'all got a tight-knit group of friends. You know what I mean?
I was more like you, Ashley, before I went to college, because I didn't have black girlfriends until I went to Frostburg. And so I didn't really have that much foundation of like who I was as a person and like my blackness and how therapeutic it is to talk to black women. And so really Fran opened me up to just say how I feel. And then ever since then, I won't stop. We'd be up on the phone. Like, I'll take a nap. She'll still be on FaceTime. And I'll roll over 6 hours later. You still here? Yeah, girl. I'm like, good. Because I got something more to say. And I thought about it some more. But I'm here with some more information.
And sometimes we internalize things. So I will speak for myself. I internalize things before I even go to Ashley, Michaela, or Chris. Sometimes I feel like I deal with it on my own. Instead of like putting those, like feeling like I'm a burden to my friends or my family. I feel like let me try to deal with it without any help, trying to get through this. But sometimes it's a lot, and I think as humans we should understand when it's too much and know that it is too much and get some help and like call someone, like tag somebody in, tag team, because it's okay to want to get help. It's okay to lean on someone. It's not what do you call it? It's not toxic to talk to your friend and talk to your mom, talk to your dad.
You need a sounding board. You need a confidant. You need a close circle with you. So when things get tough, you can recognize that and really don't fall in the same traps of trying to deal with it all by yourself.
Exactly.
And I think we're all learning how to do that. because, you know, even though we're really good at talking with each other, but what Ashley and Fran just said, like, we still try to figure it out before we come to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still like a work in progress. We're always trying to make sure, like, the next time, like, we have slip-ups or times where we're down in the dumps, we deal with it and we handle it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any?
I also damn it, I had it, man. I had it in my head. But one big struggle is when like we always talk about backslides is trying to find substitutes or I guess short-term therapy. And for me that was food, especially junk food or that processed stuff we call food. And I would just eat and eat my emotions. Like Fran, Ashley, Michaela, y'all saw me freshman year. You see me now. I'm a lot bigger, aren't I?
You're more gorgeous than you were 5 years ago, if that's what you're asking.
I gained like 50 pounds in that span. Like from then to now, I gained like 50 pounds of just eating, just unhealthy eating, trying to bury my emotions.
Cinnabon.
Yeah, I used to. They know, like I used to go to not Outtakes. What is it called?
No, it's Outtakes.
Oh, it's Outtakes. I was thinking Cat Track. I used to go to Outtakes almost every night. Get two of them cinnamon rolls.
I remember. You be like, y'all going to get the wings? Oh,
Right.
Yeah, and I would just eat that late at night. That's like that just destroyed my body. And that just piled on with all the stress from school, all the relationships and whatnot. And so, just being aware of what you're trying to substitute actual therapy with is key too. Because I'm pretty sure I'm pre-diabetic. You know, my dad's diabetic. His mom is diabetic. He's losing his eyesight. She lost her eyesight. I don't want to go down that same path because I've seen it firsthand what it does. And so trying to correct that now is probably one of the big main priorities in my life right now.
Good.
So compared to anything else.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're making it a priority.
You gotta make that mental connection and then physically act it up.
Yeah.
And keep that in mind when times are hard. Because I have that too. Like my mom's side is diabetic from eating, and my dad's side was genetics. So I have to make sure.
Double-edged sword.
Yeah, I gotta make sure I'm good because of both of those things. The same with you.
And I really do believe, like, once when you change your health and you prioritize that, a lot of things do fall in line. Like, it helps with your mental stability, it helps with being happier. Because I know once when I'm bogged down with a lot of junk food, processed foods, and I cut out meat for the last year, and I can tell tremendously, like, I have more energy. I don't do anything because it's quarantine, but I'm saying, like, I guess I feel lighter. I feel like I have more control, and I like to incorporate a lot of like my spirituality and like that mental fortitude with like health is wealth, and like the more you know, the better you can be. And it's a journey. I am telling you that because I feel like as soon as I went to be vegetarian, my mom wanted to make chicken wings all the time, lemon pepper. I'll put some Tennessee booty rub on that. And I'm like, what is going on here? They're like, oh, you didn't know? We got an air fryer. We want to do some more chicken. I was like, wow, okay, I'm cool. I'm going to eat this rice, though. And I'm and some cucumbers.
Sound good, though. I think I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But also, Gerard, it might I think you should tag team somebody in. Like, you have plenty of guy friends. Like you were just saying, you enjoyed those times where you guys stayed up at the quad till 2:00 in the morning talking. Tag one of those boys in. Be like, look, this is what I'm doing. I want you to do it with me. And if they don't, move on to the next one.
Buddy system.
Yeah.
Hold each other accountable.
Yeah,
compete.
What they do with those push-up challenges, you can make it like a challenge or something like that.
Me and my family are just doing plank push-up challenges for Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure I twisted something wrong.
Doing a push-up.
Because I had my sister on my back, and yeah, and all I heard was my brother go, "Get up!" So I had to get up, and I did something to it wrong. But anyway, I think you know how white people stick together. Yeah, we gotta stick together. Like, help your brothers out. You call yourself a friend, be that friend. So if you see he is crying out for help, he might not be crying like, "Oh Lord, help me, please somebody go." Something simple as, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pre-diabetic." That might be
alarm bells.
Yes, and I think somebody needs to step in and be like, "Yo, what we need to do?" Because you know what, I want to get better too. So what we gonna do? You know, it's just as simple as that. And that'll help your mental health, knowing that you're not alone going through something traumatic, which can be traumatic like this. So then,
and working out is a great stress reliever.
It is. Ashley, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna talk about your ass, but
girl, I be trying.
Yes.
Look at Peter.
Oh my goodness. And then Ashley Kelly, she a scrapper. She fight.
I don't know why everybody always says that.
She be fighting.
Kristen.
Giant.
I never told them you fought.
Thank you. I don't know why people assume that.
I see it. I feel it.
I don't know. I don't know where that feeling's coming from.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on how to heal?
Oh, closing out?
Yeah. I mean, if anybody has any last thoughts about what we talked about today.
I really like having dialogues like this. We repeated this over and over again with every single topic, but a lot of things weren't spoken of in the Black household, and I think the way we started talking about it more is amongst us and having these conversations amongst one another. We can talk about what we think, and our ideas can bounce off one another, and that's how we continue to grow and learn. So I really appreciate the time that you guys do to have this kind of subject and have some women perspectives on it too, because you know, guys handle things differently than how women do, and we can learn and grow from one another. Mm-hmm. So I do appreciate you guys having this topic today. I appreciate being here today with all of you. I don't
Very
see you guys
well put.
Guys, it's true. I miss you guys. I don't talk as much as I should. You guys are doing an amazing job with your podcast. You guys celebrated 1 year.
Congratulations.
When I first heard that you guys were having a podcast, I was like the quietest guys that I ever met in my life. Are having a podcast? Yes.
Right. I was like, not Chris.
Right, look at it. You guys have grown. Have you guys listened to the first couple of episodes to the more recent ones? I was like, amazing job. Congratulations. And I can't say it enough. This Black excellence is just one of the highlights of quarantine. And you got to look at the bright side of things, look at the silver lining of a lot of stuff. And we're going through quite a bit. But when I look at your accomplishments, and this is one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, I'm really proud of you.
Yeah.
Proud to say I know you guys.
And make sure you guys celebrate yourselves.
Take the time to be like, I did that. Doing that.
Yeah. And keep going.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll convey the message to Avery too.
Yeah. Shout out to Avery too. Shout out to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like how y'all stay close knit after y'all graduated too. I want to applaud y'all for that.
Real recognizing real.
We want to adopt you, Ashley.
Well, I appreciate but no, for real. Because y'all say Chris is quiet. Chris is pretty quiet, but I had never really seen him interact with other people, how he interacts with y'all. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I never really felt the need to interact. I was just like, that's them doing their thing. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, Chris has always been that kind of kid that he was cool with everybody, you know what I mean? But like, I appreciate how all y'all like include him in everything and stuff like that. So,
Chris
and y'all
don't
doing
know, but he's a essential part of this group.
Mm-hmm.
We would not be without Chris Kelly. The third.
y'all are all good people.
Patar from Elias.
Daggone Gerard and Peter's laughs always have me cackling when I'm supposed to be studying and I'm listening to y'all's podcast. So keep up the good work. I try to broadcast in Slippery Rock, telling them to listen. So I'm gonna ask y'all if y'all heard this last part, Slippery Rock. I hope y'all are listening up because I don't know if y'all listening or not.
Our views in Slippery Rock have gone up recently a lot. Though.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, man.
With the marketing, right?
You know?
Helping us get out there. But, I mean, any more remarks, or I could just go to the closing. So that's the show for today. We will be on YouTube at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Right, Chris?
Yeah.
Eastern time. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Engage. We need that right now.
Yes.
If you don't want to see us on YouTube, you could always listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, except SoundCloud and what? Pandora?
I'm working on SoundCloud though. Not this week, but maybe next week for SoundCloud. We'll see.
Yeah. Our social media page is Out of the Berg on IG. On Twitter, it's Out of the Berg Pod. I'm gonna say my plug first. At Kofi Peter on Instagram and Twitter. And Chris, you go next.
You can find me at Chris Kelly 57 on IG and Big Chris 5_57 on Twitter.
You can find me at Geronimo B28 on Insta, and that's it.
Guess want to plug yourselves? Or y'all straight?
We good.
No.
You can find them at Out of the Berg.
Straight up. There you go.
Hey, that's the show for today. We had fun talking about mental health. Like I said, let us know what y'all think. It helps us. Stay black, stay woke.
Bye.
Bye.